Jake McKinney was a ranch hand who had devoted his life to the sprawling fields and the daily grind of cattle herding. He wore his work boots like a badge, a symbol of countless hours spent under the hot sun. Every day, he rose before dawn, casting aside worries about bills and debts piling up like tumbleweeds in the dry wind. But now, he found himself at a crossroads, facing financial struggles that threatened to swallow him whole. The ranch had been in his family for generations, but hard times fell upon them when the drought hit. Cattle prices plummeted, and soon Jake was living paycheck to paycheck. His boss, old Mr. Thompson, was understanding but had his limits. He couldn't afford to keep Jake on much longer unless business improved. The thought of losing his job felt like a weight on Jake's shoulders, heavy enough to drag him down. With each passing day, Jake worried about losing not only his job but also his home, tucked away at the edge of the property. It was more than just a building to him, it was a sanctuary filled with memories of childhood adventures and dreams of becoming a rodeo star. To make matters worse, Jake had recently learned that Mr. Thompson's wealthy neighbor intended to reclaim a valuable show stallion named Thunder due to debts owed by Jake's boss. As fate would have it, Thunder held the key to both hope and disaster for Jake as he faced uncertain days ahead. Thunder was no ordinary horse, he was a breathtaking show stallion with a shiny chestnut coat that gleamed in the sunlight. His mane flowed like silk, and his powerful legs seemed to carry him effortlessly over the ground. Born from a lineage of champion racehorses, Thunder's grace and agility left everyone in awe. He could gallop at lightning speed and execute intricate jumps that dazzled judges at competitions. Owned by Mr. Langston, a wealthy rancher known for his impressive collection of prized animals, Thunder enjoyed a life of luxury, but he also represented something more significant for Jake. Whenever Jake watched Thunder perform, he felt a spark of hope ignite within him. The stallion's spirit embodied the resilience and determination that Jake longed to reclaim in his own life. With each performance, Thunder captivated crowds, earning ribbons and trophies that hung like badges of honor in Mr. Langston's barn. Yet as drought ravaged the land and money dwindled, Jake learned that Mr. Langston planned to take Thunder away because of debts owed by Mr. Thompson. To Jake, losing Thunder would not just mean losing a magnificent horse, it would feel like losing the last flicker of hope in an increasingly dark world. As he watched Thunder in training one afternoon, leaping gracefully over fences and turning with precision, Jake made a silent vow, he would do whatever it took to protect this remarkable creature and perhaps find a way to turn his own fortunes around. As the days turned into weeks, Jake's financial troubles escalated beyond his control. The drought, relentless and unforgiving, continued to drain resources from the ranch. Every morning, he observed the withering grass and tired cattle, each sight a painful reminder of their struggles. While Jake worked tirelessly, the meager paychecks he received seemed just enough to cover the most basic living expenses, leaving little hope for savings or support. Mr. Thompson, aware of the looming debts owed to Mr. Langston, was forced to confront a harsh reality. He sat down with Jake one evening after a long day in the fields, his face etched with worry lines. "Jake," he began hesitantly, "we're in deep trouble. If I don't settle my accounts soon. Well, I'm afraid it might come to claiming liens on some of our best assets, including Thunder." Jake's heart sank at the thought of losing Thunder. The stallion wasn't just an asset, he represented everything good in Jake's life. But the financial strain was palpable as Mr. Thompson brushed away his own frustration and helplessness. Desperation hung thick in the air as news spread through the community about Mr. Thompson's situation. Friends and neighbors expressed sympathy but could offer no help, they too were battling their own crises from the drought's grip. As reality set in and options dwindled, Jake felt the weight of impending losses crushing his spirit like never before. With monumental stakes weighing heavily on him, he needed a plan, fast, if he was going to save both his job and Thunder before it was too late. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the desolate ranch when the silence was shattered by the roar of engines. Jake was tending to Thunder in the corral, his heart heavy with worry, when he heard the approach of pickup trucks. His pulse quickened as two men stepped out, both wearing dark sunglasses and tough expressions that promised trouble. They were Mr. Langston's henchmen. Jake McKinney, one of them called out, his voice booming over the sound of hooves clopping against the dusty ground. The other man held a shotgun firmly in his grip, its barrel glinting ominously in the fading light. The harsh reality hit Jake like a cold wave. This was about Thunder. "Mr. Langston's been waiting," the first man sneered, taking a step closer, with a confident swagger that shouted intimidation. "We've come to collect." Jake's stomach churned as they advanced, determination sparking within him. "You can't take him," he pleaded, stepping protectively in front of Thunder, who sensed the tension and whinnied softly. "He's not just a horse, he means everything to me." The henchman laughed darkly, raising the shotgun slightly. "You think a plea will save you? We're just doing our job." "Step aside, ranch hand." With fear gripping him but fueled by resolve, Jake took a deep breath. This was no ordinary confrontation, it felt like a showdown where both their futures hung in the balance. He had to make a choice, stand firm for what he believed in or watch everything slip away. Jake's heart raced as he stood in front of Thunder, the weight of the moment pressing down on him like a storm cloud ready to burst. Memories flooded his mind, flashbacks of his first time riding Thunder, the way the stallion galloped freely across open fields, mane whipping in the wind. They had shared countless sunset rides, each one strengthening their bond and weaving a tapestry of trust and friendship. "Remember when we won that local rodeo together?" Jake whispered to Thunder, who looked at him with trusting eyes. The horse seemed to understand the gravity of the situation, nuzzling Jake's shoulder as if urging him to fight back. "You're not just a horse, you're my partner, my friend," he continued, determination igniting within him. The henchman loomed closer, but Jake wouldn't back down. He recalled all those times Thunder had inspired him to push through tough days on the ranch, the laughter they shared during practice sessions and even the quiet moments where they simply enjoyed each other's company. Thunder had taught him resilience and hope, values he couldn't abandon now. "I won't let them take you," Jake vowed fiercely, his voice steady despite the fear surging through him. He felt an unbreakable connection with Thunder that filled him with courage. The stallion was worth fighting for, not just for himself but for all they had experienced together. As he squared his shoulders and faced the henchman once more, Jake knew that this was not just a battle for a horse, it was a fight for everything he believed in. As the tension escalated, Jake realized he couldn't face the henchman alone. He needed backup, and he knew just where to turn. Gathering his resolve, he sprinted toward the nearby ranches where friends had always admired Thunder's incredible talent. He first stopped at the Wilkins Ranch, where Anna Wilkins was busy tending to her own horses. "Anna," he called out, breathless and urgent. "I need your help. The henchmen are here to take Thunder away." Anna paused, her expression shifting from curiosity to concern. "What? They can't do that. Thunder is special." Without hesitation, she grabbed her jacket and followed Jake as he rushed to spread the word. Next, they swung by the Johnsons' place, where a few ranchers were gathered for a barbecue. Jake quickly explained the situation, and the group listened intently, whispering among themselves. As he shared Thunder's story, the joy he brought to competitions and how he inspired everyone, Jake could see their expressions change from skepticism to determination. One by one, ranchers stepped up, offering their support. Old Mr. Johnson nodded firmly. "We can't let them push us around," he declared. "If we stick together, they won't stand a chance." With newfound strength in numbers, Jake felt hope swell within him once more. As they all prepared to head back to confront the henchmen together, Jake knew that this was no longer just his fight, it was a battle for their community's spirit and pride as well. United as one, they would stand against the threat looming over Thunder and their way of life. With a determined spirit, Jake and his group of ranchers approached the area where the henchmen stood waiting, shotguns gleaming in the fading light. Tension crackled in the air as they drew closer, each step heavy with purpose. Jake's heart raced, but he could feel the strength of his friends surrounding him, bolstering his courage against the looming threat. "Stand your ground," Jake called out, his voice steady despite the fear surging within him. He stepped forward, flanked by Anna and Mr. Johnson, who both wore expressions of fierce resolve. The henchmen turned, surprised to see a united front. "Look who decided to show up," one of the henchmen jeered, cocking his shotgun with a menacing grin. "You think this is a game? You're just a bunch of ranchers." Jake stepped closer, fist clenched at his side. "This isn't a game. Thunder isn't just a horse, he's part of our community, and we won't let you take him." The atmosphere thickened with apprehension as the henchmen exchanged glances, momentarily thrown off by Jake's defiance. But they quickly regained their composure, aiming their shotguns toward the group, ready for a fight. "Back off or else," they warned, their voices dripping with intimidation. Jake felt a mix of fear and bravery rise within him. He had come too far to back down now. The standoff was electric, hearts pounded, breaths held, and time seemed to stretch infinitely. In that moment, Jake knew they were not just defending Thunder, they were standing up for their homes and everything they held dear. As the standoff intensified, Jake's mind raced, seeking a way to turn the tide in their favor. He knew they couldn't match the henchmen's firepower directly, but he remembered something that might help. Glancing at the nearby barn, an idea sparked in his mind, one that could distract the henchmen long enough for Thunder to escape. "Hey, everyone!" Jake called to his fellow ranchers, quickly hatching a plan. "We need to create a diversion. I'm going to make some noise over by the barn. When I do, I want you all to move Thunder away from here and into the woods." Anna nodded, understanding his intent immediately. "Got it. We'll keep him safe," she replied, her voice steady with determination. Jake sprinted towards the barn, grabbing a few empty metal buckets and tools. He knew he had to make this distraction loud enough to capture the henchman's attention. As he clanged the buckets together, shouting and banging tools against the walls, he could see the henchmen turn their heads in surprise. "Hey! What's that?" one of them shouted, momentarily distracted from their focus on Jake's friends. With a nod from Jake, Anna and Mr. Johnson moved swiftly with Thunder, leading him quietly away toward the tree Lien. The distraction worked, the henchmen were confused and drawn toward the noise that echoed through the ranch. Jake kept up his racket, feeling a surge of hope as he did whatever it took to protect Thunder. This clever plan was a chance for them all, not just to save a horse but to reclaim their sense of community in the face of adversity. With the henchmen momentarily distracted, Jake seized the opportunity and sprinted toward Thunder. The stallion stood wide-eyed, sensing the urgency in the air as Jake quickly mounted him. "Let's go, Thunder," he urged, planting his heels into the horse's sides. The stallion responded immediately, springing into action. They bolted towards the tree Lien, thunderous hooves pounding against the earth, kicking up dust behind them. The sound of shouting and clanging metal from the henchmen faded into the background as adrenaline coursed through Jake's veins. Every brush of wind against his face felt exhilarating, reminding him that this was a fight for freedom and survival. As they dashed deeper into the woods, Jake felt an unbreakable bond with Thunder, knowing that together they could overcome any obstacle. Thunder navigated the underbrush with ease, leaping over fallen branches and dodging low-hanging limbs without hesitation. Jake guided him skillfully, trusting in their shared experiences to lead them to safety. However, the pursuit was relentless. Voices echoed behind them as the henchmen regrouped and continued to chase after them. "We can't let them catch us," Jake shouted fervently, gripping tightly to Thunder's mane. The stallion surged forward one last burst of speed, racing away from danger. Finally emerging from the trees, they found themselves on a hillside overlooking the ranch below. Stopping to catch their breath, Jake patted Thunder's neck affectionately, whispering words of gratitude and reassurance. They had escaped, not just from danger but from a life that threatened to pull them apart. In that moment of triumph, Jake knew their bond was stronger than ever, forged in bravery and resilience against all odds. As the sun began to rise over the ranch, casting a warm golden glow across the landscape, Jake felt a renewed sense of hope. He and Thunder had escaped the henchmen, but they still needed a lasting solution to keep the stallion safe. Determined not to let fear dictate their future, Jake devised a plan to secure Thunder's place on the ranch. With the help of his friends and fellow ranchers, Jake approached Mr. Thompson about negotiating a deal with Mr. Langston. They proposed a payment plan that would allow them to keep Thunder while ensuring that all debts were settled over time. Mr. Thompson, inspired by their determination and community spirit, agreed to support Jake in this endeavor. Together, they organized efforts to raise funds through community events, a rodeo showcasing Thunder's talents and bake sales featuring delicious treats from local families. The response was overwhelming. People showed up in droves, eager to help protect something they all cherished. As they worked together, Jake realized how much strength lay in unity and friendship. Thunder became a symbol of their resilience, inspiring others not just as a show stallion but as a beloved member of their community. In the end, Jake secured Thunder's safety and began rebuilding his life with newfound determination. With each passing day, he felt more capable of facing challenges head-on. The bond between him and Thunder grew deeper as they stood together against adversity, ready to embrace whatever the future might hold, together as partners in both life and hope.